something. It was new buttons.
Man, that went live like instantly.
Yes. So be careful.
Okay.
They'll be doing all that stuff right last minute.
StreamYard has elevated their game.
Yes.
How you doing, Jennifer
I'm
Lacey?
good. How are you? It's been one. The Mavs won last night, which I'm super excited about because I love basketball.
Oh, that's
And
basketball. Yeah.
yes, and it's like the semifinals, and so
Oh,
and they just
really?
won 2 games on the road, and now they're coming back to Dallas, and so one that was awesome, and I was up late watching that, and then the WNBA had a game right after, and so anyway, I just got to watch a lot of basketball last night after I got to do So Man Live with Aaron Gibson. So it was like one of those evenings that like I crashed.
Aaron Gibson. What was that experience
Oh my
like, Jennifer?
gosh. It was one, you know how much I love having the spotlight 100% on me. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
it at all. And so it was a lot of love and appreciation for me. And so had to like allow myself to receive that, which was like it takes a little more energy for me to do that, but it was good. And he was so just again the way he does it, and just the appreciation, and just the things that he focuses on, and how things that are important, and just again it was I wasn't very comfortable, but I allowed it, and then I received it. So there we go.
Nice. And you survived.
I
It was
did.
Aaron will probably usually comes on a little bit later, but well done, my
Yes.
man. And look, we got some stalkers.
Woo woo. Good morning, Josh.
What's up, Josh? How you doing, man? He said he was excited about this one today.
Oh,
We
good.
got LinkedIn user here says,
You
"Good
know,
morning, y'all."
is that Amy Campbell? Usually I think the unicorn is her. Maybe I'm
I
not
think
sure.
it's
Yeah.
Amy. Yep,
Okay.
yep, yep.
Awesome. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Amy. And then we got Buddy. Didn't you get to hang out with Buddy
Oh
here?
my gosh, buddy knows like he has this week like one getting to be in his space and just hugging him a little longer than I would normally hug because there's a lot going on in my life,
Yeah.
and just it's almost like I hugged him and my soul just went and it just sucked him in, and then I was like everything's okay, I'm good. It
Oh
was
man,
awesome.
so awesome. Buddy, love you, brother. Look, Amy
Yes,
says, yes,
yes.
it is me.
I know
Me.
the icons matter, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're going to be talking about cultivating impact, influence, and connection. And we're also going to be dropping some info, some
Yes,
hints at the cultivation crew, but we'll get back to that later.
yes.
If you're out there in the Omniverse joining us, good morning. Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're coming in from. And we got some housekeeping, Jen.
We
Can you
do.
kind
So
of set the
again,
stage?
I know there's some people out there that are listening because you come up and tell me later, and I so appreciate that. And we love you, and we love that you come and you join us in the morning. We also know that some of you just don't quite engage with us on the keyboard, and that's okay. But we do want to like love you and give you a shout out and recognize that you're out there and you are with us this morning. So if nothing else, if you will jump in, let us know where you're from, like let us know where you're joining us from, and then if it's the first time you've like either joined the show and we came across your inbox, or it's the first time that you're like, okay, I'll let them know I'm here, let me tell them where I'm at, we're asking you to put a blue heart because one, it lets us know, which we
Yes.
appreciate, but two, it lets our entire no BS tribe know, and when
Yes.
they see blue hearts, they may get more excited than we do, I think, Jesse, because they then see there's new tribe members that they can go and connect with. They can connect with your content. They can be there. And I know we have a lot of tribe members that, like, even on the side, they connect and they do their own calls outside of us. It doesn't have anything to do with us, but they connected on here.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. One thing I want to stress here is like, folks, this is a community, right? Like everybody's super supportive of each other. There's a lot of us that do a lot of things together outside of this, lots of collaborations going on. So if you're a lurker, we love you, lurkers.
Yes.
And like networking and connecting with super awesome freaking people that are making stuff happen out there. Let them know you're here, man, because
Yes.
there are ballers out here. And speaking of
Oh,
ballers,
gosh.
we got Miss Sarah coming in. She says she's talking about the thumbnail. You got the right stuff, baby. Yes, that's actually the song that came through my head when I was putting that together. And she says, great show last night on Soul Man, Jennifer Lacey.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate all of your support. You were commenting a lot and giving me lots of love last night. So I appreciate it. Aaron Gibson did an amazing job, and he very much like shone the light on me, and I tried to receive it as best as possible.
Yes. And then we got my buddy Bruce. How you doing, Bruce? He
Good
says,
morning.
Good morning, my man. Appreciate you showing up. Then we have somebody with exquisite taste asking a really profound question.
He must want something.
Josh,
good morning, Josh.
He's getting better looking. Yeah. Good morning, man. And we got to say,
it's the filters. It's the filters.
The filters. Oh, that was a good one. We do have to say this because he called us out on one of our live streams previously about us not coming to his job site.
Oh, okay. He can't do that anymore.
Can't do that no more. We came out there, we hung out. It was awesome. Got to see some really awesome stuff happening out there. So thank you for hosting us, Josh. And then James says, Mr. Jim says, trying to get on, but it appears I'm having internet issues this morning. Actually, thank you for the reminder, Jim. If LinkedIn is acting wonky, because it sometimes does, and there's like a connection thing between StreamYard and LinkedIn, you can go to YouTube. YouTube seems to have the least amount of glitchiness. And we're live streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we have
for the first time.
For the first time, we're live streaming kind of on the TikTok. But it's only seeing me, right? Back to Josh's comment, right? This is what the audience wants, so we have to give the audience what they want. And also, like, if you're making, like, not all comments make it through the thing. I'm not sure exactly why. So we do love you. We do appreciate your comments. We're not ignoring you. I pinky promise, like, for real, not ignoring you. So what that means is, like, after the live stream and everything gets synced up or whatever, I will go and find you and recognize you. But I just want to make sure, like, we're not leaving you out. We're not ignoring you on purpose. It's just a thing that's happening between if you're on your phone or if you're on your laptop or if you're on your Android. I don't know what the thing is, but there's some weird stuff that happens. What do you think?
Yes, sure. It's an Android issue. It always ends up being an Android issue.
Always an Android issue. So Sarah says, Jim, I had issues at first too. She closed out and came back. Okay. So, well, look, there goes Jim. He says, I made it. Good morning. What's up? And then we got Maria Martin with the green heart.
Good morning.
Repeat offenders today.
Yes. We got our tribe here today.
Yeah, we do. All right. So we're going to have some conversation. I'm looking forward to this. So what are we going to talk about? Are we going to talk about anything?
I mean, those are pretty big, heavy. I mean, just by themselves, they each could probably be a conversation. And I think over the course of over 2 years that we've been doing this, we've realized that there are several topics that kind of help people do these things, like help people impact more of, the spaces they're in. They have influence, and they maybe are in a place where they're trying to grow, or they're trying to move into leadership, or they're trying to help with their field teams. And then also, I've just learned, and if you haven't yet, you'll figure it out. Connections in this industry are like magic. When you have connections and you know someone, or someone that knows someone, and then all of a sudden, somebody connects you with someone else and all that, like, things happen because of those connections. And so I think all of that together, you and I've realized that there are people that want more of that, and there are people that also struggle with how to do it.
So is this a how-to thing?
I think, okay, we're going to maybe speak from our experience.
Okay.
And things that maybe people have asked us about, or things that we help other people do. And people can kind of take nuggets of what they think, okay, that applies to me, or maybe, I haven't tried that. So I think we're going to be talking about some of those things today.
Yeah. And I'm going to be talking about the cultivation crew that kicks off on June 14th, where we can actually get into the how-to and like for real practicing and building some of those skills.
Yes.
Not some, building those skills, because we talk about connection. We know how valuable and how important it is, and for me, how meaningful it is to have like those deep, rich connections with other human beings in terms of like my mental wellness. Um, but there's things that get in the way, right?
Yes.
And for me, I'll speak for myself. I get in my own way, or I have
Mhm.
gotten in my own way in the past. And so we're absolutely gonna get in around that. Um, Look at Mr. Terry Proper. What's up, Terry? He says cultivating sounds a lot like culture to me. Maybe. I like that. So let's make a distinction here, in that this is going to be focused. I'm thinking of this in terms of how I can change and contribute to the culture, not what to expect from a culture. What do you think
Ooh, I
about
like that. Like how you can impact, influence, and connect within a culture. But it's
Yeah.
about the decisions that you make personally. And I
Yes.
think our perspectives are great because there's things that I do that are within a firm or within something, and how do I help others? But we're today going to talk about our individual impact in those areas, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And I don't think there's a lot of, maybe in my head, there's not a lot. Most of the stuff that's out there, articles, etc., are about a company culture.
Mhm.
Right? They don't necessarily talk about how do I contribute or
Or my
build.
individual.
When I say
Yeah.
contribute, I'm thinking, how do I also build and establish my own culture, or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's yeah, man. This actually is, of course, like
Important.
always.
Yeah. Good. Great agenda, Jesse. I love it.
We got to give Terry credit. Okay, so we're going to jump into that, but first, I want to give a shout out to the folks out there in the
Okay.
Omniverse. James Gable says, "Good morning from
Morning,
Colorado."
James.
What's up, James? Then we got LinkedIn user coming in from San Antonio this morning with the little cowboy hat. My guess is that's Tanya. Yep,
Okay.
that is Miss Tanya. What's up,
Good morning,
sister?
Tanya.
Oh, we got to give Tanya a shout out. She
Okay.
just jumped up to, she just got a promotion.
Congratulations, Tanya.
Yeah, she did. And she celebrated with cupcakes. Cupcakes and
That's even better. Cake.
way to go, sister. And we've got Graham Connolly coming in from Vancouver Island, British Columbia.
Is he a blue heart? Have we seen him before?
I think he's been here before.
Okay.
But you know what? He's a blue heart, folks.
Okay,
So y'all
blue
need to
heart.
go
So if
check
you
him.
are not connected to Graham, jump on, connect with him. Graham, you got some love that people are going to come and make sure that you are seen.
Yes, 100%. And then we got Miss Nick. Good
I
morning.
got to see her last night on
Yeah.
Soul Man. And Nick, just to confirm, the after party does not require video. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in the after party.
Yes, no, there's no dress code for the after party because
No.
ain't nobody gonna see you. We got Megan Shapiro. Oh man, I got to interview her yesterday.
Nice.
Coming in from the West Coast, and that we could have talked for like 20 hours, man. She got it going on.
And don't we get to hang out maybe with her in a couple weeks?
Oh yeah, we're going to be hanging out with her in San Diego at the Reciprocal Propulsion Retreat. So
Yes.
she said she can't wait to get vulnerable and open up and all the things. I'm joking. I'm just picking on you, Megan.
But you still need her to show up. So like, don't scare her away yet.
Yeah, I'll behave. Okay, I'll stop. Oh man, we got a lot. Look, she said yes, ready to go. All right, so again, connection, or we're talking about cultivating impact, influence, and connection. And Terry, thank you for the delineation, like internally as an individual. And so, when I think about, I'll say it this way: the crazy thing that I never expected. There was a time in my life where people that made friends on the internet were freaking weirdos to me.
Right.
Like,
Like date. I mean, even like early on, Jesse, like tell me, say 10, 15 years ago, like when you're like dating or you found your person on, a website or whatever, it was just like, I mean, you're not in that. I'm not one of those people.
yes. And now, fast forward to now, where the majority of the people that I've spent time with and am connected to, they're internet people, right? Like I have friends that are like, Jesse, you have internet friends? Like that's weird. I'm like, I know, bro, but it's not. It's super awesome. Which brings us to like initially my thinking was how in like there's no way to form connection virtually, right? Across the screen. It's just not possible. And then I think back to like Leah's laughing, like, yeah, it's weird. And it's like, so for me here, I'll just kind of go back and try not to go too deep in it. But when the lockdown happened, right? When that
Yep.
happened, I had to figure out how to do my job virtually,
Yes, me too.
right?
Yes.
And I absolutely hated Teams before that. Then I started figuring, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, this is powerful. And then, you know, because a lot of the stuff I did, I mean, similarly, Jen, like a lot of what I did in my work was facilitation and training and group.
Hands-on stuff.
What's that?
Hands-on stuff.
Yeah, hands-on stuff. So in my head, there's no way we can do this. We can't transfer the knowledge. We can't have meaningful impact because we're not going to be in the same room. And then I had a thought. I was like, wait a minute. When I was a little squinkly, a little youngling, I would get enthralled with Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and like these and they were like my best friends. I knew everybody's name and like
Barney.
Who's that?
Barney.
Barney, yeah. And so then it's like, well, wait a minute. Connection can happen. And it's a matter of, at that time, it was like, it's a matter of the energy and the preparation of the individual in the screen that's delivering the content. So that shifted my mind. Fast forward to now, we started the 5S Love Letters live stream. And it was like, holy hell, this is a whole other level, which was a result of being vulnerable, being open, trusting each other, going back and forth, and inviting people in.
That part.
Inviting people in established or started growing this connection thing on like remotely. What do you think, Jen? I'm
no, because for me, and I'm going back to like you're making me have to go back and date myself a little bit, but like growing up Sesame Street, like even Sesame Street, and it was cool to watch all the stuff, but what pulled you in? It was the engagement. It was the do this activity, counting this, learning this. You know, they're a call to action to go, you know, to do something, to get engaged with them. And it was like back then, that's what pulled you in because you're over there doing the dance or you're over there doing the exercises or you're doing the thing physically in one space while you're on a screen connected to someone else. And so like think about that in the areas that we work in and that we try to create connection. Like we've done it, Jesse. We've been either in the audience or we've been on a screen with people that they need to share and educate people on all their knowledge and everything they have that they can then impart on someone else. And that's great. We've been in those spaces. But we also know when that's all you do, the people don't receive it well. But if you are maybe talking about the things that you are subject matter expert on, but then you're okay, now we're going to do this exercise and I need you to get your sticky note out and your Sharpie out, or I need you to stand up. I need you to get a partner and have a conversation about what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail. And then they start talking. And then we're like, okay, what did you hear? And then they're sharing. And then all of a sudden they're pulled into something on the other side of a screen because they felt something, they got engaged, something connected to them. And that to me is what is happening.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
That's exactly what I said, Jen. Of course. That's exactly what I said. And so I got a question I want to do two things. A question for the audience. And then there's a bunch of people that are jumping in that I want to make sure we recognize. Yes. I'm kind of liking the setup I have right now.
Good.
You know, just because I love myself. So here's the question for you folks out there in the Omniverse. What keeps you from making deep connections?
Good question.
What do you think about that?
No, that's a really good question. So, so whatever your response is to that, put it in the comments because we want to start bringing that into the conversation.
Yes, yes. Like, I think that serves two purposes. One, it'll help you know that you're not alone.
Yes.
And two, it'll help inform this conversation. So maybe we can offer some help. And of course, the tribe's going to drop their comments and their wisdom that is going to help. Because I get a lot of, like, that's really the cheat code. That's really what's happening here. I'm here
Not us.
to y'all teach me, help me get better. So Bernard Hammond. So Bernard is in the comments, but I'm looking at it through the LinkedIn.
Okay.
He says New Age pen pals. I like that. That's a pretty cool.
I do, because it's not like where you're having to take pen to paper.
Yep. And so what you need to do, y'all need to swarm him. I don't think I saw a blue heart for him, but you need to
Bernard,
swarm him.
right?
Solid dude. He's got it going on. Oh man, the comments are coming in.
Come on, bring him
first. Where are we? Maria Martin says, I love my internet friends. Yes, we love you.
She loves them because we get to eat cake when we're finally together.
Yeah, and send stupid pictures of it when I'm not there.
No, you started it. Strawberry Cake in San Antonio. Who started this? Come on.
Let's focus on the audience, Jen. It's not about you. Angel Curious Idealist says, good morning, pocket friends. Another perfect example. I met her, I connected with her on TikTok. She created a random room. She was out in the morning walking.
No, I thought it was, is it TikTok?
I'm sorry, Clubhouse.
Clubhouse, yes, okay.
Yeah, Clubhouse. Connected with her on Clubhouse. I say, oh, I was out walking or running, and they were walking. I jumped on, and here we are a few years later, still connected, contributing to each other. So it's super awesome.
Yes.
Miss Sarah says, oh my God. Oh, she was that weirdo. She met her husband.
Not even surprised.
Yeah. She's always on the front end, right? Leading edge, sister. That's what it's about. Oh, and Mr. Allen.
Good morning, Allen.
Good morning, man. What's up, bro? He says, bold introvert, calling in, Sans Morning Joe. So from Toronto, drinking that coffee. He'll be back. Thank you, Alan. And then Jenny. So Jenny was
from last night.
Yes.
She's good morning. Yes, she joined us on Soulman last night because she's like one of their fans, and now she's here in our tribe. Blue heart.
Blue heart. Hit her up. Follow her. Yes. Attack. And then we got Mr. Joe Gunnery. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Joe.
Thank you for coming out and posting. Folks, you already know, connect with them, support him. And so we asked the question, what keeps you from connecting? And we have some answers.
Okay, let's bring them up. Yes.
What do you think about that one?
100%.
Trust issues.
Yes, Mia, I will second that one.
You know what's interesting is she says she has trust issues, but if y'all haven't seen Maya's post, there's like some heavy, real serious vulnerability going on in your post. So girl, it's hard for me to understand that you have trust issues. And on the same note, I'll add, I have a high comfort level with being vulnerable and like sharing the dirty details and sharing my garbage. So let's think about levels of vulnerability. That's one level of vulnerability. Another level of vulnerability is letting people in to speak on it. And maybe that's where we're talking, like how many people do you let in? And I've learned, it wasn't easy, but I've learned that when I let people in, there's some trust, right? I've got to kind of take some risk, but the connection gets richer. What do you think, Jen?
What that meant to me, based on what you said earlier about this is you and how you can cultivate that within yourself. And then she's saying, I've got trust issues. What this platform and this arena does is if I have trust issues with other people, I can still, like she does, share things because if I trust myself. So I trust myself to know these are things that are important to me. These are things that I want people to hear, and I'm passionate about it. I can share things in this arena on these platforms and know that I don't have to know who's reading it. I don't have to know the other person if they receive it the same way that I meant it, as long as the way I'm sharing it is genuine and true to me.
Oh, which I think kind of echoes Sarah's comment here. She says she loves deep connections When she doesn't, it's because she can only go as deep as the person will permit me to go, which Sarah has attended the reciprocal propulsion retreat. And that's kind of the point behind the name, right? That vulnerability, that trust, that connection gets deeper, but it's relative to what level everybody's really
around them. Yes.
Yes. Right. Like it's contagious in a sense, both ways. It's contagious in the sense that when somebody gets vulnerable, like way vulnerable than I would have been, I'm compelled all of a sudden, and I'm a little competitive. It's like, oh yeah, well, I could go deeper.
And well, and it's that guard, right? It's the guard that we show up with. One, they're maybe strangers, maybe people that we've met on the internet, but we don't really know them in person. But we that guard, and Jesse, you and I have witnessed it both directions. We've watched it where people come in guarded. They start being in a space with people that are genuine, that are transparent, that care, and then the guard starts coming down. And then the activities and the things we do, they kind of get sucked in a little bit, but they also know it's a trusted space. But we also know those people that are like one step in trying to do it, and it sucks.
You can feel it.
Yes,
you can totally feel it. Yes. Right? Like, I know when I'm not focused, which is rare, but when I'm not focused, which means ignoring everything else. That I'm not connected and I can't contribute and I can't receive in the manner that builds that connection, right? That drives that home because my brain is somewhere else or my phone or whatever. Like somebody pissed me off and I'm still fighting that fight in my head. Like all those things undermine connection. Oh my God, we got like massive comments.
Come on, bring them.
All right. So these are all really great points. So Maria says what keeps her connected is when the CPTSD wires get tripped. And I know that
like post-traumatic stress, like the things that trigger, trigger that. Absolutely.
100%. That would definitely put your guard up and disconnect connection. Megan says,
I get to see you in a couple of weeks. This is going to be fun.
So I want to like drop some thumbs up or big head blown emojis in the comments, y'all. So Megan has this formula up here and it says deep connection equals vulnerability. And then it says vulnerability equals bad.
Damn it, Jess, you didn't tell me that. What? We've been doing this for how long?
I completely understand that because I've been there, right there. And I feel like in the professional space, especially, vulnerability has become this bad thing. It's a weakness, right? People can and I'll also say, I'm going to admit, there was a time where I actively sought out people's vulnerabilities so that I could rip them apart. Like there are people out there that function that way. I used to be that way. When I see a weakness, I'm going to go in and I'm going to exploit it. That's not healthy for me. That's why I don't do it anymore. But it is a reality that we need to be aware of. Now, fast forward to now where I'm as vulnerable as I can be all the time. What I've learned is those people that want to attack, they ain't got nothing. They really got nothing.
Yes.
Right. In return, like if I put it on a scale of the attacks versus the quality of life and the fulfillment that I'm experiencing, it ain't nothing. Like it stings and whatever. Like, come on, I got all this glorious stuff happening over here because of the vulnerability. Now it's easy for me to talk about it. So I get you, Megan. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just sharing my experience. But you're not alone. Like I think we have that. So
I want to add to that part an example, and I think Josh is out there, so maybe he can add to this. But like when we think about vulnerability, it is the opposite of what we think about when we think about people working in construction. Like that is not how they show up. They show up, they're hard, they have egos, they're out there and they're getting stuff done. And so what I want to share this is because as Jesse said, like as he shows up now, and as a lot of the things you and I do, Jesse, are not a lot of those hard, protected, guarded things. A lot of things you and I do on this platform, in our book, that ties personal relationships to lean and 5S, like things that people are like, what is this? How does this even make sense? And so we did go last month up to visit Josh's job, and it was amazing. And Jesse got to go and walk and see a lot of things. And one moment, which made my heart so happy, one of the superintendents had to make sure he got back to his desk, got his book about lean and love to come back so that Jesse could sign it. So it's like we're at a job site, I mean, a massive job site doing amazing things. And Jesse, people could look at Jesse a little sideways for the things that he likes to do and that he's passionate about. And then he could like worry about that, or he could keep showing up the way he does. And there are people out there that probably don't just let everybody know they're reading Lean and Love, but yet he wanted to make sure Jesse signed his book. So it's like we're changing the way even people, see things and perceive things, and are okay being in a room going, make sure you sign my book. Yet, I mean, it's just like the mentality, I think a lot is because when we're showing up and and Jesse, we say it, when you exhibit the behaviors you seek, when you show up that way, yeah, it's scary. And yeah, there's people sideways going like, what's going on over there? But it also gives them permission.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And that requires some vulnerability. Sarah nails it. She says, yes, I find the more vulnerable I am, the more it gives others permission to be vulnerable, which is really connecting. Agreed, 100%. Here, I don't want to miss this stuff because these.
Yes,
so Jim says his wife says he's not a people person. Same. People say the same thing about me, and there are times where I hate people. Bruce says he always takes relationships seriously, and sometimes the thought of more responsibility is a deterrent. So how does that land with you, Jen? Because
I'm going to say part of the reason why I'm going to own this is a safe space, is I'm not in a relationship, and I've not been in a relationship for a period of time. And one, because I know the things that are important to me. And I know that at any point I say, yes, I'm committed to doing this with a person, I'm going to be committed to doing that. And it will then take time away from something else. Yes. And so the responsibility, the right responsibility of not having it halfway and when I got time and stuff like that. If I'm going to be committed to somebody else, or if I'm going to make a commitment to someone, if I can't do it 100%, then to me, it's just added weight and burden on top of me. That's not fair to someone else. So I am very, I guess, particular about where I make my commitments, what I'm willing to do, because one, I don't want to disappoint people. And two, like, I just, if I can't be there 100%, the responsibility of that, then I don't make the commitment.
Yeah, no, I think taking ownership of that, right? Similarly, I finally came to terms with the fact, in terms of like romantic relationships, I am not willing to give the appropriate amount of time to nurture a romantic relationship. I'm just not. Not saying that I never will be, but right now I'm not. And so dating is a bad idea for me, because those things evolve, and I'm so damn lovable, Jen. Like, people fall in love with
me. They
me.
just flock.
Yes. And then because I'm not going to give it the proper attention, I end up hurting people's feelings.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. And so it's like, okay, the responsible thing to do is like, just not do that. And there are times where it's like, man, I really want to try it out. Maybe this time but I know I won't. Like, I have decades of evidence that say, no, Jesse, you're not going to give it the time. And so back to Bruce's comment, there is a responsibility in relationships, 100%. And so what is, like, maybe thinking for me, it's like, okay, what's my bandwidth? What's my capacity? What can I give? And where do I want to give it? Like, it's kind of, sometimes it's really a formula, kind of like Megan put up there. But I think it's an important thing to keep in mind, so that I don't lose credibility and hurt people. But in terms
go ahead, go. Sorry, no.
Yeah, so just it helps me maintain the level of connection that I want to have. Is making those decisions, having some kind of filter to make that happen. James says trust. sometimes it's me not rushing, even if the other person hasn't done anything to lose it.
Right, because they haven't earned it. Like they haven't
Yo,
earned
yeah.
it.
What do
Yeah.
you think about that? The earn
I
you
mean,
earned
I live in a place of like, if I expect the worst, then I'm not going to be disappointed. And I know that's not the way to show up, and that's not how it seems. But if I go in with, it's not low expectations. It's that if I go in with expectations I've put on someone else and then they don't meet them, whose fault is that? And so that's kind of how I engage with people. One, because it also allows me to see where can I help, where can I impact and influence, but it also allows me not to be disappointed.
The way I manage that is very similarly. I just put a lot of damn effort into having zero expectation. Right? Like that helps me because I know my resentment is rooted in expectation. So
Yes.
I have an expectation of somebody, the likelihood of them fulfilling it is very low. And then because they don't fulfill it, then I'm going to be resentful. And
Yes.
that's dangerous, right? That leads to that triggers all my addictive behaviors and all that other stuff.
Can I add to that when you get
yes.
done? Okay, when you get done, no, finish your thought, but I want to add to that.
Yeah. So there are times when I do have expectations. And I put in a lot of effort to communicate my expectation and secure a commitment regarding that expectation. Meaning that doesn't mean that they always say, yes, I'm going to fulfill your expectation. Sometimes they say, no, I'm not going to do that shit. And I say, oh, okay. So then I don't expect it. So the inverse of that is I don't allow uncommunicated expectations and unsecure commitments to steal joy from me.
Ooh.
That's it. That's what I had, Jen. What you got?
And I want to say I'm much better at this at work, where I suck the most with expectations and what I think people should be doing is when I'm at home with my girls. And we go through this and we escalate and then it blows up, and like, in the default is because I said so. Because I'm the parent and you are the child, and this is what I said, and so you need to do it. And then I have to like go through, let's work through all of that and realize like I've got escalation over here, I've got somebody pissed off over here, I'm upset. And then I have to stop and take a step back and realize like, okay, was I clear? Was I making sure that the expectation was understood? And I can do that at work. Like I'm really good at like watching and observing and okay, let me make sure I explain that right and make sure, is everybody clear? Does everybody know the steps? And at home, I'm horrible. And I've had to like really work way more on that at home, because it ends up being in those unfulfilled expectations. And then I'm mad and I'm angry. And, if we expect I'm going to say my kids, I have 2 teenage girls. If I just expect that they should know it because they've seen me do it, or I should expect that they should know it because that's something that I did at that age, then that's on me.
Yeah. Yup. The most important thing, the difference maker, will be taking ownership of your part, right? And you just said it. When we take ownership of our contribution to the situation, then we can do something about it. If we're blaming everybody, you ain't going to change it because they have the power. You've given up your power to them.
Yep.
Man, we got some good stuff.
Come on. Oh, yes.
LinkedIn user, I think this either Tanya or Amy. She says, my anxiety and energy management, I can really care for someone. And I know that I'm going to hit times where I'm so overwhelmed and or exhausted that I end up going silent. Which then leads to me feeling so guilty and shameful about the messages I haven't responded to, milestones, haven't congratulated someone on, etc. What do you think? Do you feel that ever, Jen?
Do I feel guilty? Yeah, I think, well, one, there's a lot of stuff crossing the front of like my path, whether it's phone, computer. Yep. And if I allow myself to get caught up in things that I should have done or could have done, or like, then that will consume me. It will
Mm-hmm.
consume me to where, dang, I didn't respond back to him. Dang, I told him I would, like, that will consume me to where I'm not able to even be productive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so, like, part of it is there's going to be a time that, and we know that there were people that we know that are like maybe not on LinkedIn for a while and they get back on and they're like, hey, I know I've been gone, but I've had some stuff going on. And they like kind of catch people up. And every day you get to wake up and your day is different than anybody else's day. And every night when you go to bed, like you, again, whatever was on your shoulders that day, like no one else was dealing with those exact things. And if
Yep.
we are not in a space, and some people maybe aren't, that we can't understand that every human being out there has got things that weren't planned. You know, my mom's dealing with a house fire that happened a month ago for my mom. We didn't plan for that. And so there are some things that absolutely have gotten pushed, and my priorities had to get reorganized to help her navigate through that. But not
Yep.
everybody knows that. And so, like, if I get consumed and worry about, oh, this person's going to get mad at me, like, then I'm not a benefit to anybody. And so you have to like own it. Hey, my bad, whatever. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to get back. And then if you don't get back to those people and then they hold it against you, they have resentment, things like that. You know what? That's something that they're going to have to navigate through.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
where I'm at.
Yes. So what I'm hearing, like what this is making me think of, what the comment and what you just said is like that punishment, like we punish ourselves because of the unrealistic expectations that we set on ourselves.
Yes.
Right? Like if nobody, and I'm gonna say it this way. There's a lot of people that I don't text back immediately. I sure as hell don't answer the phone right away. And I really, really don't email right away. There was a time where I was like, I got to get back to everybody immediately. And I would run myself ragged doing that. And when I didn't, I felt like I was letting people down. I was losing credibility. Oh, the sky's falling down. And then when I started asking people, like, hey, I know it took a while. Like, does that bother you? And they're like, no, like I was on to something else. Like, it's rare. It is very rare that people expect me to deliver the same amount or that type of response that I want to deliver. So it's all self-imposed, right? Like
Jesse,
it's
yes.
fabricated stress, and I'm the one fabricating it instead of giving myself grace and saying I've done the best I can, or sometimes I got to tell myself, yeah, I'm not going to do that, and I'm okay with that. So
But you said something that I think is super important. You ask somebody the question. And I want to just really quickly, because a lot of times, like you said, self-imposed, those are things uncommunicated, those things that we allow to live in our head. And it's because in our mind, I don't want Jesse to think that he's not important enough that I'm not answering the phone. So every time Jesse calls me, I'm going to text him real quick that I'm going to call him back. He doesn't like that. I'm just going to let y'all know he doesn't like that. And because I was doing that, it was just, again, one more thing for him to go, okay, whatever, I'll just talk to her later. But I was doing it because I wanted to make sure he knew that I care that he called. He didn't care. He didn't care that I let him know. I saw his name on my phone. He leaves me a voicemail, usually stupid stuff, but he leaves me a voicemail. And then I get back to him when I can. When I call, he knows I don't leave voicemails. And so he sees I called, he calls me back. Like there's no other things going on there, but I was doing that because I thought it would help let him know, and it was doing nothing but frustrating him. So like ask the question. Hey, are you good if and so I've gotten that where I don't like click over, or I try not to like send messages. I'm just like, hey, they'll call, I'm not available, they'll leave a message, I'll call them back. And it's helped me like not get so distracted with some of the noise.
Yes. Yes. And so, quick example, y'all. I will never answer my phone and say, hey, can I call you back? I'm just not going to answer my phone.
Nope.
And I may call you back. And when I call people and they answer their phone and say, hey, can I call you back? I'm like, why would you do that? Like, I know I shouldn't get irritated, but it's a thing, right? In my head,
it's a real thing.
You have a human being in front of you that you're interacting with, or you're on the phone or whatever. Like, I'll survive. Like I can use voicemail and text and just call me when you're available. It's fine. Anyways, it's a Jesseism. And I think that's why Nate Price says I'm
Oh
so
gosh, nature's feeding it.
So I want to tap this one more time and then we'll maybe
Okay.
transition out of
Okay.
this. Like the self-imposed behaviors, the things that we do that bring damage or maybe undermine our purpose or focus and intent to build connection. Nick says, shit, I lead with trust, right? My therapist told me a long time ago, part of the reason my romantic life was the way it was is because I started with 100% trust and 100% vulnerability. That's me showing up. And the people I was interacted with, they start this way with trust and vulnerability. And so as I'm earning their trust, they're opening up. But every action I had to take to earn trust, I'm shutting down. Like, oh, I got to work for this. So by the time they were open and flexible to trust and vulnerability, I was done. I was out. I was shut down. So, like Nick, thank you for sharing that because I had to learn. Like, hey, the way I operate is not the same, and that doesn't mean they're wrong. And I can adjust my behavior just a little bit so that I can stop causing damage and stop like minimize the static that I was bringing into my own life. Alan says, and I think this is kind of the anchor here. It's interesting how in order to connect and feel engaged, self-disclosure is needed. I always share first, then titrate. I don't know what that word means. That's a fancy
It's an
word.
Allen word, I'm sure.
Right. Then titrate my investment in the connection based on whether that vulnerability is reciprocated in good faith. So in Jesse land, what that means is I'm going to give, and I'm also going to be attentive. Are they giving it back?
Mm-hmm.
And based on what that volume of return is, will inform the response going forward. So if I'm ultra trusting, ultra vulnerable, and they're ultra trusting, ultra vulnerable, awesome. Like you and I, the first call we had, I'm like, holy hell, we could do something. This is going to be super awesome.
Yeah.
There's other people that want to collaborate and do things. And I talk to them like, oh, okay. So there's feeling out the boundaries of what that is and just mirroring that is a way that I keep myself healthy, if you will. What do you think?
No, 100%. I mean, it's feeling it out. It's that I'm going to say mirroring, but like when you're in those spaces, you can show up you. Like I believe, and you know this, I believe people are good. I believe people are good and that they don't have ill intent. They're not out there being malicious. Like I believe that. That doesn't mean it's true. And that doesn't mean that I don't get disappointed. But when I believe that, I can go in and I can be me and I can have an engagement with someone. And then I can like test it out. I can see where they are, how they receive me, but also, I serve. I want to serve. I want to help. And so are they receiving that? Are they allowing that? Or are they like guarded and don't want anything to do with it? And then that gauges my next steps.
Yes, that's it. That's so. And turn like that's got to be a clip because we're talking about cultivating impact, influence, and connection. And there's the next step. Want to shout out Miss Claudia Garcia coming in from Florida. All right, I had a thought, two thoughts. So here's Josh, Mr. Josh Young. How does Josh keep looking younger? Josh says construction is fairly simple. It's following a set of directions. Cultivating relationships amongst a wide range of people with different backgrounds, beliefs, and standards is hard and fun. Vulnerability breeds trust and respect, which is truly how you win.
I know him. I know him.
So that's I think a good shift here because you and I are in the construction space. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to kind of push the boundaries here in that I think every job that any of us have is simple. There's a set of orders,
blocking and tackling. Yep.
That's it, right? You do push the buttons, do the click, whatever. Like those things are easy. There ain't nothing hard about that until you introduce people. into the situation, right? I can be a freaking technical expert, the best of the best of the best. But if I can't connect with people, how far do you think I'm gonna get?
Well, and Jesse, you got to see it, and so I'm going to harp on this a little bit, just because one, Josh, thank you for engaging and sharing that. But you got to be on his job site for 2 days. You got to walk around, see the people. You got to see him in the office, because that's you get to protect that part. You got to go in the field, and so what Josh is saying, in what you're breeding and what you're doing, creating an environment like that. We've talked about it. It has to start with the leader.
It doesn't just start, it lives with the way leaders respond.
Right. And you got to see that. So what did you experience when you were there?
Yeah. So the interesting thing, I was observing, I got to see the field, which was awesome. Nothing brand new, right? I've seen that in other projects. Maybe I haven't seen as much, like the volume of awesomeness in one place, but I've seen those things. Awesome. It's alive. It's not at the beginning. They're like on the tail end and people ain't choking each other out. That's a big deal. Was hanging out in the office and watching and interacting in the meetings. I'm like, man, there's something here. I don't what's the thing? That's what I'm always looking like. What's the one thing that there's something here? I can't put my finger on it. And then I find I think it was after we came back from the thing. I was like, you know what it was? Is I've been on mega projects. I don't know. That one's a few $100 million project. It's an add-on renovation connection, super high complexity, like all the excuses that everybody wants to use about, well, that's why they're doing better than like invalid excuses. I've seen it. They had a good staff. They weren't overly staffed. They had a whole lot of work. What I noticed or came to mind was like, you know what it is? There was this intense calm in the office, meaning people were intensely focused on their work. There wasn't a lot of grab ass going on. There wasn't a lot of joking and bad mouthing or any of that, like him hawing around. So there was an intensity about the people, and there was a calm. Nobody was screaming and yelling and threatening and freaking out and pulling their hair. Like it was just this extremely intense calm that was happening. And it's like, that's the thing. Where does that come from? And so I reflected on interacting with the leaders, right? Like both of them are calm, level, even like dealing with all the problems. And so what I assumed, which I think is true, is those leaders on Josh and the guys out there, they're dealing with all kinds of bullshit, all kinds of variation, all kinds of problems, complaints from the client, the delays, and they hold it. Meaning they don't push that down to the rest of the team. They filter out all the static so people can stay focused and intensely working on their thing. So they're not chasing in their, like the leaders aren't in emergency crisis mode. So guess what? The rest of the team is not. And then it's like, that's what it is. That's the thing that I got to see all the way out to the job site that was unique. Connection is able to happen because I know, again, we'll go back to the way back in the day when I used to date people. When I saw somebody in their native habitat, right, the woman with her friends or her family, and I see them like panicky and freaking out and overreacting to stuff, like, oh, no, like I need that out, I gotta go, because that's an indicator of how they deal with things, and that is going to be pushed onto me. Same thing on projects or offices, departments. When I see, it's very easy to see like, you're not doing a good job of filtering out the drama internally. So you let it spill through to your team. And that's a warning sign. I'm not going to get connected here because it's risk. There's a lot of risk here because of all the chaos. And so for the leader as an individual, and this is all of us, when we can filter out the noise for our people, for our team, it doesn't matter where you are on the hierarchy, but if we filter out the noise and absorb the negative stuff, not pass it on, we are contributing to the conditions for connection. How's that? Did I get the answer right, Jen?
Yes, that was amazing. But it was the filter piece that I think sometimes we forget. We forget, yes, it's a title, yes, it's a position, and yes, it's a go-between between, clients, designers, things like that, and then also a lot or a little of the people that are out in the field doing work. In that position, it's like it could bottleneck. It could completely people react to that position, and all of us are in them, even if we're not the CEO of a company. We're in a position that people can watch how we react, watch where our blame goes, where responsibility goes, where credit goes.
Yes.
And I mean, and those are all things that, again, I witnessed it out there, and you got to see it too. But all of those things, when those things are placed in the right positions, and you're recognizing people, and you're not letting all these other things elevate, and you're not reacting to every phone call, and then pointing fingers, and then all these things, when you are able to temper that,
Yes.
you're creating a different environment above and below. You're creating a different environment because, again, you got to watch meetings that they were having with their clients, as well as the way that we were dealing with the field. And I know we're focused on construction right now, but a lot of our people are in this space. You are in a position to filter, to temper some of those things, and how you react to it then trickles down into the other people that are around you.
Amen. Man, the time's flying.
I know we have lots of people that are contributing.
Yes. So Bernard, what's up, Bernard? He says you got to find a healthy way to clean your filter.
Oh, nice.
And so this is big transition time. Thank you, Bernard, for that. And folks, if you haven't followed him, you need to go follow him, because he's an awesome, freaking awesome dude. Angel also kind of on the same line of thinking. She says, I also think there needs to be a balance with vulnerability, because I've seen some take it to the point, continuously wallow in their trauma, getting in the way of connect. Oh my God. So I've heard Megan talk about this on her live stream. I think it was Megan Shapiro that said it. It's like, share your scars, not the wound.
Ooh.
Megan, if I didn't get that right, let me know. But that's what I heard. Share your scars, not the wound. And so when I'm still wounded and the pain and all the gooiness is still there, like,
Yes, it's not the
sharing
time.
that, like that, what I'm probably going to do is attract accomplices, and they're going to tell me how awesome I am and how everybody sucks. That doesn't help me get better. Folks,
Nope.
if you know me, I don't want sympathy. I don't need that crap. And if you need sympathy, I ain't the fool to come to, because you ain't going to get it. How can we better? How can we get further along? How can we move the needle? So sharing the scar is, okay, I went through this painful moment, this traumatic experience, whatever it is, and this is what I learned from it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
sharing the scar. So, but going to like Angel's comment and Bernard's comment, it's like, how do we filter? We got to have mechanisms in place to manage all the stuff that we have to take into as an individual. And the only cheat code I know for that, rather the best ultimate cheat code I know and I consistently practice, is community, is hanging out with super awesome people that are also on the path to self-discovery. That is the game changer for me to date, the biggest one. What do you say to that,
Well,
Jeff?
and so what you just said, I think, is super important. I think it's important because community, you and I talk about this all the time, and how it can energize us, how it can help us know we're not by ourselves. But I want to go one layer deeper. There are people in my community that I share my wounds with, because of our connection, because of whatever that is. They are the people that they're not going to let me wallow in it, but they're also going to acknowledge that I'm not alone, that, hey, we're here to help. We can help, things like that. I have people that can do that when I'm wounded, but they are not usually the same people that I need to be intentional with on the scars. So and so to me, sometimes I think we have that close community. So it's like, those are my people for everything, and they're not. And you say, like, I have my board of directors. That's what you call it. But I have these people around me, and there's certain people that are for certain things. And yes, there is a time to share those scars, and like those people that. And what I connect to that is, once you get through the fire,
Mm,
once you come out of it and you're standing back up, it's a different conversation. It's a different way of what happened and what I dealt with and what I got through. And there are people that's a lot of what we share, Jesse. And then there are other people you and I know, and a lot of them are the same people, that when I am like overwhelmed and feeling like I am about to lose it, it's a lot smaller group. And,
yes.
and and those people are not people that are like, man, that sucks, Jennifer. Good luck and let me know how that goes. Like those are not those people. There are people that are like, what do you need? What can I do? Let's get this done. Like those are people, and you got to be able to figure that out. And sometimes you learn because it doesn't happen the way you want it to happen, and then you're like, okay, that they're over here and they're over here, but like those are people you need in your life, and like just like be aware of that they're not all in this bucket together.
100%. I like Graham's comment. He posted it earlier, but I think it's totally relevant. Like, ask somebody what they need. Like, if they're in the middle of their messiness, they need sympathy. They need a listening ear. Get clear about that. If they want guidance and direction, get clear about that. Don't just come in solution shanking people, right? We got
Yes.
to understand what people need. So beautiful ad, Graham. Thank you. Um, Bernard's got some wisdom for you here, Jen. He said it's probably the Android thing that sucks at the live comments, because his comments weren't coming into the feed, and now they are. And I think it's because he got off of his Android phone. I don't know. I just had to throw that at you. And then we got Ian Smith. What's up?
Morning, Ian.
Back to what you like. This just reinforces what you said. It's so easy for people to gravitate to the negative, piling it on, and that's easy, right? Oh, me too, me too. It's much harder to stay positive and rise above the noise. But when you do, people will be drawn to you like moths to a flame. I agree with Jan. I think he misspelled Jess. People want to be positive and be happy. No one shows up to work wanting to have a bad day, like for real, right? And so our energy is contagious, 100% contagious. And so I alluded to this community thing, right? And on June 14th, we are launching, Jennifer Lacey and I are launching the Cultivation Crew, which is a new experience where we are going to be working on building our skills of influence, impact, and connection
Yes.
as individual human beings. And what that's going to look like, we're going to talk about best practices, takeaways, all the things that we think you should do. Of course, it's going to be communal. So whatever advice and comments and thoughts you have on the subject, we want to bring them. And there's going to be a practice, like a real life practice and feedback session. And it's kind of fitting that it comes after Ian's comment, because this grew from some feedback Ian gave us on emotional bungee jumpers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're adding this to that experience. If you want, drop a little hand or something in there for more information on the cultivation crew. I'll connect you with the link and all that other thing. June 14th, open. There's a registration fee and all that good stuff. So if you want to learn more, you're going to be there. It's going to be a bunch of awesome people. And we're going to be focusing on four things. The first one is facilitation for connection. The second one is telling your unforgettable story. The third one is going to be reflection for massive growth, right? And then the fourth one, maybe I got them flip
That's
backwards.
okay.
Yeah, you're right. The third one is feedback.
Yes.
Feedback for massive growth, and the fourth one is reflection for deep introspection and continuing to keep that ball rolling. And so those four things are going to be like the first 3 months starting in June are going to be focused on facilitation. The next 3 months are going to be focused on storytelling. The next 3 are going to be focused on feedback, and the last 3 are going to be focused on reflection. Did I miss anything, Jen?
No, you did good. And so what 3 months looks like, because again, it's a meeting a month. It is one, like, what are some of those, like, some insights, some best practices, some knowledge about these things, because we both have experience with all of them. Then it's also like being able to get in and do it. So we've learned there's a lot of things that you can go out there and watch videos. You can go and be in a training, things like that. We have learned when people can actually do the things that we're talking about. So you get to experience it, you get to be a part of it. And then not only do you get to do it, but then as a group, we get to go and look and give feedback and, hey, here's what I saw and here's what you did great. And here's some things. So then we're learning together. And so all of that kind of cycle is going to happen with every one of our topics. And that by the end, you will have gone through this. It's not like I have this workbook now that I can go back and switch to page 3 and go, okay, let me do this checklist. Like, you will have lived it. And so now you're going out and being able to experience it with your teams and your people, and you've already gone through the exercise. So I'm excited about that.
So excited. Now, I'm going to need your help here, Jen.
Okay.
Because I forgot. Don't we have this after party thing?
We do. And so, Nick, I better see you there, but we have an after party after every live stream. And it's because Jesse and I get to do a lot of talking on this show. We do get to bring your comments up, but you do get to see our faces and we do a lot more talking. And so the after party is on LinkedIn, and it's just a link and it's just audio. So you don't have to have your makeup done or have it even be dressed. We don't care, but you can join via audio, and then we ask you when you jump on, you hit the little, join the stage, raise your hand, whatever that is. We bring you up, and then we get to listen to you. We get to listen to things that you got from the live stream, thoughts, maybe things that you wanted to say, but it was too much to type. And so we get to listen to your voice, kind of not only you getting to share, but then you get to connect with other people. And we get to have a really almost a deeper conversation on the things we talk about on here. And again, it's one click. And Jesse will usually share the links on here. He'll share it on the No BS page. And that way you can go find the link, click it, join the room. You can sit and listen. And you can also raise your hand, join the stage, and then kind of be able to share your thoughts on it. Is that what we're doing, Jesse?
That's what we're doing. So I am in the process of posting that link in all the places, but it's acting kind of wonky on me over here. But yeah,
it is on the No BS page. So if you go to the No BS page on LinkedIn, the event is on that page, and you can literally just join it from there.
Yes, thank you for that. Go to the No space BS, Jen and Jess, and you'll find it. Want to see you there. I posted the link in one of the spots. And hang on, we got some Mr. Sam Sinclair. He says hello.
Good morning. Yes,
he made it. Sarah says she's gonna be missing the cultivation. She's gonna be in Hawaii. Oh, I feel so bad for you, Sarah. Oh, look, we got some hand raises. Angel, curious a dealer, says, "Yeesh." Okay, girl, I'll hook you up. Mr. Milo, what's up, Milo? He was on the after party last time. Milo said, thumbs up. So you're going to get the information. Everybody's going to get the information.
Yes.
Looking forward to all of that. So look, there was a comment here. Where is it? Solution shanking. What a perfect phrase.
That is a Jesse phrase for sure. It is absolutely what we focus on in emotional bungee jumpers, and making sure that that's not what we're doing. We don't show up to do that. So
yes,
you want to learn more about that? Let us know.
Come on, don't be scared. And Miss Yvonne coming in from Facebook land. Solution shanking is a Jesseism. Yes. And yes, another Jesseism. Thank you for that. So James did a beautiful summary here. He said, here is the UC moment. What's UC? Uncommon communicator. His UC moment is, where'd it go? Cultivating impact, influence, and connection is based in trust and vulnerability. How does that land with you, Jennifer?
It lands well. And I know James lives in this trust place, and whether good or bad, whether we give too much, we give too little, I know trust is super important to him. And we've had some of those conversations. And so it's the blind trust that we've talked about a little bit today. It's the, trusting that people are good and that they're not out to be, deceitful. Yes, we're going to be sometimes disappointed, but if we want to create an environment that is different, then we have to show up different. And to me, that is the vulnerability piece, the things that you and I, Jesse, have been doing for over 2 years, showing up every 2 weeks. It isn't because like this big agenda, or here's what our goal is, here's our finish line. It's let's create a space where we show up different than sometimes other people are used to, or they don't know what it is, and yet people are drawn to it because it's like they have this thirst, or this, they're starving for connection, they're starving for a space where they can be the things we talk about.
Yes, 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 yes. I mean, full disclosure, I'm here because I'm starving for connection. And I think we kind of picked up on this when we are doing the 5S Love Letter live streams, that it was like, oh my God, like there is this, the people in construction are looking, like at first it was construction. That was our primary
Yeah, that
focus.
was our focus.
Now it's like the omniverse, everybody come play. But there is such a void in connection and trust and vulnerability and psychological safety, like all of these fluffy ass words that you hear all the time. It's so absent that I need it. And the place that I can find the largest volume of that is with the No BS tribe, with the emotional bungee jumpers, with the people that I allow to speak into my life. And so I'm grateful to all of y'all for showing up and supporting and tolerating all my goofiness. Jen, I'm super grateful to you for being courageous and being willing to do this thing, whatever it was over 2 years ago, and it's turned into whatever it's turned into. It's a matter of us contributing into one another's life, and it gives life so much more flavor. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I said this last night, and I was trying to think of like what my closing thoughts would be for today. And I said it last night on the Soul Man Live, but I want to say it again because I think sometimes we don't think about it from this perspective. Is all of us have ideas of what we want to be, or where we want to go, or what position we want, and so doing the status quo will get you promoted. Doing the check boxes, doing what the person in front of you, or the position in front of you, what they're doing, if you do exactly what they're doing, you will get promoted. You will get the raises, you will get the things you want. And if that is what your goal is, then just follow the person in front of you. But if you are maybe looking to do something different, or do something no one's ever done, or do something outside of the normal prescriptive, here's what you could do, you're going to have to jump a little bit. You're going to have to get outside that comfort zone. You're going to have to get vulnerable, and you're going to probably fail a little bit. You're going to get disappointed, and it's going to be scary. But all the people that are doing things that have never been done started doing something that they weren't sure of. And yet they still took that leap and still took that jump. And we're all in those positions every day. It doesn't mean you have to take the big jump off the cliff, but every one of us are in positions every day of like, okay, I can just keep toting the line. I can just keep doing these things. And we're gonna be able to move up that career ladder, or we're trying to do something different. We're trying to change people's minds and mindsets and thinking, and doing something that is leading the way. And you can't follow somebody to do those things. So that's where I'm at this morning, based on our conversation.
Love it. And so I'll close with this. One, Graham left this comment. This is when you can step out of our persona and share our true selves. Yes. And so, like, to the big vague ass question of how do you cultivate impact, influence, and connection, I'm going to answer that with another question. And this is the question that I ask myself over and over all the time, is how do I best serve? And what's it going to take for me to spend the largest amount of my time doing that? And I think if the tribe out there asks themselves that question and be okay with it changing over time, how do I best serve? And what's it going to take for me to spend as much time as I possibly can doing that? This impact, influence, and connection thing will explode for you, because it has for me.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, me too.
So if you ain't scared, we're going to have the after party.
Yes.
I'll be huffing and puffing because I got to go get my mileage in. But here in about 5 minutes, the link is in all the places. So click the link. It's on the LinkedIn audio room. Again, nobody's going to see you. We're just going to hear your voice. You can jump up on stage so we can have a dialogue. Actually, that's what we really want, so we can learn from you and see if this was valuable and impacted you in some way. And if you just want to kind of sit in the back and listen and kind of get a feel for what all these weirdos are going to be talking about, you can do that too. So hit the link, 5 minutes. We'll see you at the after party.
Thank you for being here this morning.